Hi guys, how you doing? This is the Scrambled Edge, and this is another video that was requested by a friend. And what we'll be discussing today is how I do coloring using Procreate. This is just a rough sketch, by the way, so don't focus much on how I draw. What we'll be using is a sketch of a nose. Now, this friend recently bought an iPad and he's using the same app, and when he saw me post my previous video, he asked me how I do it, so I obliged by creating this tutorial, a very quick one. So again, don't focus on how I draw. This is just very basic, so nothing special when it comes to the sketch, because we won't be focusing on that. We'll be focusing on how we'll be coloring the drawing. So that's the first layer right there, and then I created a new layer after the rough sketch where I traced the outline. We'll be using the nose. By the way, this is how I do it, so if it works for you, then great. If not, you can always tweak it and do it in a way that you're comfortable with. So there. After creating a rough sketch, I opened a new layer, placed it on top. Be very careful about where you place your layers, because this will actually help you later on. So there. What I'm doing now is I'm tracing the outlines of the nose. Again, let's not focus on this. I'm just trying to make it look good. But basically, this is not the main focus of the tutorial. It will be the coloring part. So there, if you'll notice, there are two layers: the rough sketch and the outline. There. Now let's open a third layer, which will be for the color. And to make it easier, we will be naming the layers as such: the rough sketch, the outline, and then the color. I believe I'll be committing a mistake on this part in a bit. The reason why I want to emphasize that you should be careful about your layering, because it actually has a great impact on how your artwork is gonna look like, and I'll be showing that to you in a bit. I'll just be zooming this in so you can see it clearer. There. So you prepare your palette. I made one that would show the skin tone. Those are just basic skin tones. I prepared that palette for this specific tutorial. And then do a swatch of the colors that you'll be using, like so. And I used six shades of brown right there, skin tone. So if you'll notice, I ended up using the swatch, or putting the swatch on the layer where it shouldn't be placed on, which is on the outline layer. So I'll try to fix that by simply cutting and pasting it on the right layer. There you go. Getting there. Alright, so moving on. Since we already have all of the colors that we'll be needing, we'll just put that on the side, and then you can long press the color that you will be needing using your finger, not your Apple Pen. Yeah, by the way, you can lower the opacity of the outline. That way it'll be easier to mix the colors, and you can already get rid of the rough sketch since you're already done using it. You can either make it invisible or just simply delete it. I'll end up deleting that in a bit. So this is the reason why you should be careful about the layer. The outline should always be right at the very top, because it should always be visible. So you see, I ended up covering it because it's on the top layer, the painting layer. So you bring it down to make sure that your outline is visible all throughout. There. So the first thing I use is the mid-tone, which is we'll call it number 4 in the 6 shades that I'll be using. And from that, you'll move forward and make and just shade the lighter parts. Whichever part the light hits, put highlights on it. On this part, you shouldn't be worried about how detailed your work is gonna look like just yet, because this will be just the base color there. So after focusing on the lighter side, I used number 2 now, and number 3. For beginners like myself, it would be best if you'll have a reference so that you'll see where the light is actually hitting the nose. If you're not familiar with anatomy yet, you can always use a reference. There's nothing wrong with that. Artists are also doing that. And then after putting all of the colors that you think you'll need for the necessary parts, the light, the dark sides, what you want to do is use the smudge tool, which is the second icon on the upper right hand side of the app. And what you want to do is lower the impact and the brush size, so you won't have a tough time smudging the colors. So you see, even if you have 6 or more colors on the same layer, once you smudge it, you can easily mix all of those. The larger your brush is, the easier it is to smudge the colors. But again, be careful. You can always tap the screen with your 2 fingers to undo. You can do that. And as I go along, after smudging the initial layer, I add more colors like what I'm doing now, using the same color palette on the side wherever I deem it necessary or needed. So just smudge it, and slowly it actually is becoming 3D. Right? If you'll notice, earlier it was just very plain, and it kind of looks like a regular drawing even without the outline. But of course, since this isn't like a super detailed drawing, it doesn't look as good. Point is, you can actually do what I just did and delete the outline altogether. But if it's on a much detailed drawing, you can totally get rid of the outline, and it'll look fantastic. So there, after smudging the initial colors and all of the colors that I added, I now am on the process of putting highlights on the parts that are hit by light. There you have it. I'm using white and smudging it. It's very, very basic, very easy. And if you'll add colors, don't be afraid to like put all of the colors that you want. Just smudge it in. You can always undo it anyway. That's the good thing about digital work. It's very easy to undo your mistakes and start over. So there, I just added more dark areas. By the way, it's not really advisable to use black altogether, but on this part I did, since I'm confident that I can fix it. There you go. If you'll notice, it's too dark, but I can always smudge it. So there you go. That's basically it. If you want to see more videos about other things that you can do with Procreate and how it's done, let me know and I'll try to make a video for you guys. Thank you for watching and hope to see you again. Oh, by the way, you can always change the color on that icon right there. You can change the hue, the saturation, and the brightness to your liking after you're done, like so. And yeah, that's it. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. Thank you for staying, and again, leave your comments below. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.